As I've mentioned to you, Corpus Christi, Texas has a few issues that make it a little bit unique and have unique problems, as you've heard. Almost every institution, from my understanding, including the Corpus Christi Police Department, is controlled or loyal to the local community, meaning the local community leaders, business elites, construction company executives, rural development board executives, or to the newcomers, the white supremacist run faction, which is exclusively white, from my understanding contains no Jewish members. The other side, of course, on the community, is heavily Hispanic and considers themselves to be non-white Hispanics. Not exclusively such. There are now many other people, Asian Americans, Black Americans, are now considered local community. These almost seem like gang type organizations. However, they control vast numbers of institutions. I will give you a rundown. Through personal conversation, I am aware that at one point, the Republican Party was heavily influenced and controlled by, in Corpus Christi, Texas, the Nueces County Republican Party, was influenced and run by, to some extent, the newcomers. He himself was personally a fairly decent person, but the former Republican county chairman, Mr. Michael Bergsma, is a newcomer of newcomer heritage. His father was also such a person. The history department consists of community servants, partially. The former department chair, Peter Moore, as well as the history professor, Dr. David Blanke, are community servants loyal to the community, from my understanding. The community of Corpus Christi. From my understanding, the only institutions that are not controlled by either newcomers or community, in some way, shape, or form, are public television. Hopefully that's still controlled by normal public television types. And the professors of Del Mar College, from my understanding, are not influenced by either faction, from my understanding. At least they're not influenced by the community and the local construction executives, business elites. The other faction areas which are not controlled, I think, would probably be the scientific laboratories and scientific institutions. I'm going to guess there is no direct influence by either faction in the Conrad Blucher Institute for Surveying and Science. I'd also guesstimate there's no direct control in the Hart Research Institute by either faction. And of course, the U.S. Navy is the United States Navy. The United States Navy is not controlled by local quasi-gang type factions and organizations. This is the lay of the land. Very few local organizations are safe, non-corrupt, or trustworthy, in my view. I distinctly remember the interview I had for my job after Rachel Garza disappeared. And I remember those people now. Letisa Villarreal, educational expert, whose name I don't recall, gave me a very hardball educational theory question. I thought nothing of it at the time, but I realized he was deliberately trying to torpedo me out of my job because I knew Rachel Garza. Dr. Deborah Culbertson, a community servant, white but a community servant, person who serves the community, was also at that panel interview. Widespread control and influence at the university by the local community of Corpus. Corpus Christi.